it might take a long while for your line for reality to converge with perception in your own life. While somebody else's own might be faster, but it will definitely converge. And the point where perception meets with reality is when truth is exposed. Like no one can bullshit our way through life without it eventually showing up. Hello everyone, welcome to Wholesome Conversations. We are glad to have you back on this episode.
It's been a while.
Oh yes, it's been a while. So yes, we are sorry. Everything has just been so busy. I hope you guys are also trying to juggle and manage your schedules. Yes, so today we want to look at perception versus judgment. And I think, I think we need to start from what do you think is perception like?
Yeah, so
that word.
What comes to mind is how you see people or how you perceive something. I think it's almost the same word, but what you think maybe through your mind or so, because perception too can be you perceiving maybe an aroma of food or something like that. But it's all about using maybe your mind or something to feel something about someone, maybe truth, maybe based on the information you have. So usually it's based on the information you have. That's what I think. So
so perception really has to do with the mind. And I think it's like I mind. It's a, let's say, sensory mind connection. So when we say the senses, we have the gateways to the senses, the eyes, eyes, ears, what you hear, what you see, and what you, maybe the mouth and the skin, touch and feeling. So the connection between all of those sensory organs and the mind. So maybe you judge something based on what you see, or you judge something based on what you hear, because sometimes we just think is based on what you see alone.
And of course, we create that image most times of what we think is the right thing. Yeah. And, there have been situations whereby even if you haven't met with someone, you already have a particular image of how the person should look. And that is the reason why.
That was what came to my mind too. That was exactly what came to my mind.
Because I've noticed, even when you meet someone for the first time, maybe you've been talking over the phone. You're meeting the person for the first time.
You'll be disappointed.
It's either the person,
or you are. Is that person
exceeds or
your expectation, or is lower,
way lower. So
that is true.
It's very hard for the person to just meet up with that level. So that means you've really created a particular image in your head. So that's one thing most times, because with perception you're actually creating an image, and as you've said, based on your sensory organs, most times you see someone and the way the person looks, you're already creating an image based on what this person is wearing, maybe he's very rich or not so rich, or based on the way this person is looking, it doesn't look good to my own level. Or even your feelings too, sometimes, what you even perceive with your nose or something, that perfume is very this person is using something quality. So most times perception comes from what you feel yourself. Someone might be jovial on the phone, and then you create an image of this is just a very friendly person, and then you get to meet the person in person, and maybe it's very quiet person. Some people are, I think, textroverts. I heard that.
What is textrovert again?
I think someone just used that word. So
what is textrovert? What is tell us? Tell us what it is.
They are very good with texting. Oh, they are very jovial over text.
I think I know someone like that.
You get to meet them, you'll be like, are you the same person texting? Because you just see a very quiet person, but over the phone they are all over. So for people like that, you already create an image of how this person should look, and then they come to you and they don't necessarily look like that. So that's it. There are a lot of things that comes with perception generally.
That's interesting to think about, because now that there is social media, it's honestly, whether you like it or not, social media is another reality. It's another sphere. Let's just say we're looking at the world and we're looking, we're in this sphere of life. It's a full total life. Like some people live there. they create a place for themselves. They have an apartment there. So it's a whole life. So you can have an image of someone in that realm, and then when the person intrudes into the real world, it becomes totally different. And just like as you talked about the smell, you can perceive something nice like food, and then you eat it and it doesn't taste good. And then, you know, a lot of that smells so good. You know,
online cook, sometimes you even see a very nice meal like online, and you are craving for it.
It looks so good, and then you order the exact thing, or maybe you even try to order the exact thing, or maybe you skip the dishes. You see it, but what you want is not what you get.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, I think perception. So do we say perception is an illusion? Like, do you think it's something that is not real, like it could be separate from reality?
I think to an extent it might be an illusion, but we won't take away the fact that it's sometimes also real to an extent, because I've seen situations whereby you see some things or you perceive some things about people, and it's true, so you can't take away that totally. So I just feel like basing your judgment just on perception might not necessarily be the best, which is where we are still going anyways, because we are looking at perception and then judgment. But in a way, is it wrong for me to present myself in a particular way that people should perceive me or people should see me this way? Because I've noticed generally that you see people that are not so bold or so, and they want people to see them in a particular way, which is like, I want to be perceived this way when anything. There are a lot of people that are not so much confident, and then the way they type, you think they are very confident but you now get to meet them and you feel like, oh, this person is not the same. So I think, is it totally wrong? And then is it not like you're passing the wrong message? Because when people now get to see you, an example, you don't really have a lot, and you've even gone into debt to be able to use a kind of phone or to be able to wear some kind of clothes. And then people think this is who you are. And then they get to meet you and notice that this is not really who you are, but you're just placing yourself on that pedestal. I'm just thinking, is it totally wrong to at least to put yourself in that particular way? Like, let them perceive me this way because this is the way I want to be seen. Though it might be an illusion sometimes too, because that's not necessarily who you are.
It's a very complex question, honestly. And I don't know if you've seen the movie. It's a movie that was all over the place before, about this lady Anna, who pretended to be very wealthy, and she was able to scam the whole, like a lot of elite banks in New York.
I saw that.
So she alluded to the fact that people judge based on perception, and many people, like, it was, I watched that movie critically, and I think everybody should, because it was a real life. It adapted it based on real life events, and the way she walked into places and was able to borrow she borrowed, for instance, a whole airplane or a jet or whatever to take her somewhere.
The one I saw was the Arab Prince, not even that one.
Okay.
And it was very similar.
Yeah. So people have been able to bullshit their way through the world. Of course, it's still, and that's the point. So if whatever one decides to do is left to the person, but know that perception and reality, they are not parallel lines. They are converging lines. It might take it depends on time. It might take a long while for your line for reality to converge with perception in your own life. While somebody else's own might be faster, but it will definitely converge. And the point where perception meets with reality is when truth is exposed. Like, no one can bullshit our way through life without it. If that's saying that's saying truth will catch up. It's an underrated, because it's so true. It's an underrated thing. And that's, if you look at the lives of so many people that have tried to bullshit their way through life by trying to pretend to be what they are not, to gain things and to get things, and even just to live, it eventually catches up with them. People eventually see through them. Eventually, even the person that is trying to be texting and trying to portray himself, you still eventually is still going to. I think that's the truth that we should see, and just not bother deceiving ourselves? Why not just live authentically, live in our truth? Because regardless, it will still, the cover will get blown off. So it's a converging line. They'll eventually meet.
So it's actually risky to do that, especially if you're trying to present yourself as someone that is trustworthy in some particular situation.
And you're trying to attract an authentic person as well.
Because they get to see through eventually.
I think authentic people see through people that are not authentic. Maybe you might want to say I'm wrong, but when a person has learned to live authentically for a long time,
well, it depends. So because some people are very smart at doing it, and then
they are smart at doing what?
At being inauthentic, like placing themselves as authentic when they are not necessarily authentic. Because I've seen people, and it takes a lot of hard work, and that's one thing I just think, like, instead of putting a lot of hard work in this, then why not divert your energy into something better?
Just like that lady that tried and she was able to get money, but it got to the point where she had to present the real POF, proof of fund, to the banks, because she never thought of it that won't they still, no matter how much you should say she's a trust fund kid, she came like borrowing money from the credit card, huge amount of money to back up her lifestyle, get to the bank. When she gets to the hotel where she was living, she just keeps giving money away. So her tips are huge, like $100. But so people think she is wealthy. She, even the people that are running after. But the fact is, like,
if she has used that money for business,
if she had a great sense of style, so people thought she was owed money because of the way she dressed and everything. She could start a YouTube. Like, this world now is so easy to make money, and it could also be difficult, but it depends on how you approach it. Like, she had that gift of that. She could start a fashion, even just YouTube is accessible to everybody, and she will gain a huge following. She had the charisma, and that's why people fell for her, and she could use that charisma exactly. But she's not ready. The people like that, I think they are just not ready to put in the hard work to something authentic that would eventually, because they want it fast. They want it fast. They are not ready to be tenacious and just
because just
do it
like
slow.
The Arab prince that I talked about.
I think I need to see that. Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, the way he was swindling people, it went viral sometimes, like, because it was a swindler. So
the one I saw was the something swindler.
I think that's it now.
Right.
Tinder swindler. Yeah, I think that was the one I was talking about.
I've seen that.
See the way he did it.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It was just like that,
himself
kind of, as very wealthy.
Yeah, and then collects money from those ladies and then
it's just that the difference was that victims were people that were craving someone that wanted that had money, so they were in a way greedy. The other lady was able to swindle people that are they've worked with money, investment bankers, people that are at the helm of corporations.
That's one of the reasons why I said that authentic people sometimes might not also be able to
I agree now.
see through even the...
But eventually, when reality needs to... What was the doom? What brought her downfall was that she didn't think through that. Even with all the buzz and everything, she got someone in Germany to call him, and the way she presented herself, he saw his daughter that was in her, and he was trying to get his daughter to do what so he saw her as a big person, was able to pull different people, so he fell for it, right? Even though he was the boss of one of the biggest banks in New York. Imagine. But at the end of the day, because it's not his business, she still has to present the money. That trust fund he has, she still has to show proof of it. And she kept pushing it back. But eventually, they won't sign him, because it's not just him. It's not a sole business, And so reality still had to come in.
But looking at the effort they even put into all these things.
Yes, she could have built a brand around what she's good at doing. She's good at being charismatic. There's nothing bad in that. She can build, people are content creators. That's just what I was thinking, that someone that has this kind of charisma to pull people from all over and to let them think she's authentically wealthy. And she learnt a lot. That means she's smart. She learnt about rich people. How do they do?
You're investing time studying about these things.
So why not do it and build an empire around it? They just want the fast lane, and I think it still boils down to still being, in her case, lazy. She had something she was thinking about. She wanted to have the biggest club in New York or whatever, like Soho Club, and she wanted the money. She liked that stuff, but she was not ready to take time and build it over a long period.
So, well, in a way, because we're already almost diverting to, okay, what it should have control. In a way, you can still control how people perceive you, just like...
I agree that perception is real. It's in the side of, like, people can perceive something and it will be as real as reality. That's the truth. And the point with these stories is that people have used that to do. These people we see are people that didn't get away with it. I'm sure some people have gotten away with it.
Exactly. There would have been people like that.
I'm pretty sure people have gotten away with it. So they were able to use that people are shallow.
And of course, in situations like that, perception, we can say those perceptions were actually illusions in a way, because
they were illusions, and it's real. I thought about that movie so long because she was able to get huge people that are savvy with business. No, that means she seemed authentic to them, just as you said. So it means that this is real. People really perceive you. People really judge people by a book by its cover. To say people don't is to be stupid.
But based on that, because people judge people based on their perception, is it now wrong to then put myself in some way?
I think it is not. So we have to look at it. What we've been saying before is that it is wrong to live inauthentically, but I think it is right to put your best foot forward. It is wisdom to put yourself the way you want people to address you, because people do judge. If people don't, there won't be racism. If people don't, there won't be racism. That's a story entirely. But we do know that racism is real, right? If people don't, there won't be if people don't, there won't be ageism and things like that, right?
I have another thought around that, but let's not dive into that.
I also believe that, like, you live from inside out, and if you internalize, I don't want to make a statement, but if you internalize the fact that you are inferior because of your race, you leave that out, because it's very important not to become a victim.
Because
or have a
I'm not saying,
mentality.
and of course, because we argued this on Cluster. I'm not saying that there are no racial acts or people don't even behave, but it comes from their own internal, would I say, beliefs, or what they've gotten to know over time, which affects people. So definitely I understand based on that. I'm not even saying, but I just feel like most times what we say as racism might not necessarily be racism.
The reason why I'm soft today, and I've discussed it with my colleague, and I don't want to be specific about that, who are also white people, but I felt like I was in a safe space to talk about it. And the truth is, I am being very lenient, because I know that there's tribalism.
Exactly.
There's tribalism, even people within the same country. That's a form of racism.
Even the same tribe.
Even within the same tribe.
There is still,
even within the same, you speak the same language, but they are clans and tribes. Even, for instance, the Yoruba language now. Yoruba tribe, there are clans within Yoruba tribe. We have different states and everything. And these states another state would look down. So I think, what I spoke with my white colleagues, and I think they appreciated the fact that for the first time they saw, I said, I believe racism exists. I looked at them point blank and told them, but I believe that man is just very territorial. What man does not understand, they tend to fight it. And every man always guards his space. It's just an innate ability, right? And I believe there are people that abuse this and then they become racist, right? But it is natural.
That's my own point, because
it is a natural instinct.
I'm not saying necessarily that racism in itself doesn't exist like that, but what I'm saying is it is just almost the same as tribalism. And we don't get the same, and we don't get to talk about tribalism that way.
It is real, because
exactly, that's what I'm saying. So if we are saying racism just like a term for it, but I think it's now more than a term. If we are using that term, because of course that term exists in a way, that term exists, but I feel like we use it beyond the term to like see it from a movement perspective, like these people are just against us and all. But I think it is less than that.
I think it's an individual I think we shouldn't see it as a movement problem. We rather should see it as an individual
because
problem.
That's what people do now. Because when you see maybe white people killing white or black people killing black, it's not an issue. But if it is now against
white,
black,
and
that's what I'm saying, like, it happens. We can just, like, there might be a term for it, just this.
I think we should tell me hatred.
Exactly. So
I think that's the umbrella term, and we should put everything under, not just racism.
Exactly,
we should put violence. When a black person kills a black person, it's violence. We should put violence. And when a white person kills a white person, it's violence. When a white person kills a black person, it's violence first. And we don't know what triggers it. Maybe it's triggered by racism, but it's violence first. And yeah. Well, I think we shouldn't talk about that right now. My point is, perception is real, and we need to put our best foot forward, growing confidence, knowing that people can smell it, and people will judge you based on it. And if you're a pushover and you're not firm, people will begin to put things on you that they shouldn't, because they've judged you based on what they perceive about you. If you don't, and that's why we need to even take care of our bodies, and we don't have to, like, we over extra what we are not. Maybe you're not someone that likes to use makeup, then don't use it, right? But take care of yourself well and just present yourself with confidence. I think confidence is the most important. I think confidence is underrated. I think confidence is underrated because people smell it. People it transcends race and all of that. You see someone goes in somewhere and is just confident, might not talk, but it's confident. It's quiet and she's confident. So you can smell it, you can see it.
I saw a video online today, just this morning, and I was like, they were just asking the lady some questions, like those street people that just go around, the YouTubers that go around asking questions, and then someone commented like, this lady was very calm and confident. Like, you could see it. And I was like, oh, this
you can see it, you can smell it. And that's the one thing I want to, I know I am a Christian, so I build my confidence. People have a source of the confidence. Some is based on what their parents have told them. It's important for parents to speak. Many parents miss it that way. We hope to be better parents, to learn from what we've seen before us. Words really matter. Some people's, because confidence radiates from self-esteem, right? And then also build yourself on, maybe I use the word of God to build my confidence. There are things that internalize from the word of God, what God's word tells me about myself, and then I refuse, shut my mind to whatever is outside, what people are saying, that probably I should feel inferior because of my color. Some people are even trying to, they are maybe we are the same color and they're trying to speak against it, but they are the words they are saying is not even edifying me. Like, we are saying, oh, they hate us, we'll always be expect it, you would always be this. It's not even building my confidence, and it's not helping me to break the mold. So it's very important to be careful of that, because I don't want my daughter to internalize things like that, I'm automatically inferior by default.
Exactly,
right? Because it just means that then it keeps the cycle going, and then you say, black people are not pushing. I'm going to look at examples of black people that made it. Let me look at that, and let me put that before my face, right? Because I need my confidence to be very, very and I'm not talking overconfidence, because that's a totally different thing. Overconfidence also shows, and it's different, and you don't want it. And underconfidence, if there's a word like that, I feel like confidence is what is the essence of everything. You can you can wear all the Gucci and wear everything, and you're not confident, and your inauthenticity and low self-esteem shines through it, or you combine everything, and then you can wear, you see people that they are. That's why they say old money, new money. Sometimes it's those issues. And if they analyze it, the only concept I see from it is that, okay, old money, they have that confidence built over time. They've worked their parents. It's normal to them. Wealth is normal to them. So they don't have to shout. They don't have to wear GG belt and all of them. They might just wear a cloth, good quality, bag well made. It might be a brand name, but it might not be branded. And they have the confidence from inside. From inside, they are not building the confidence based on what they put on or what is outside of them. And so I think each person should just learn how to get their source of confidence and stick to it. Use it and just try to be confident. Confidence also comes from contentment in who you are and the strengths that you have. Not entirely ignoring your weaknesses, deciding to work on them, but focusing on your strengths, not focusing on it, because we all have strengths. It's different. I told you I had a fear of driving and everything. I decided not to focus on that strength. I made the best that I could to get over it and drive, but I focus on my strengths, and I tell myself every day, I know my strengths. I know what my strengths are, and I'm just going to be confident, and it's okay. We won't all be best drivers. As long as I can drive, that's all that matters, right? So yes, it's perception is real. We need to really, really understand that, and use it.
Since people perceive us in a particular way, then just use it to your advantage.
Yes.
And then just wrapping up on judgments generally, what comes to mind when, I think in a way we've been able to see that people judge based on perception. So do we still continue to advise that people should base their judgment on what they see? Because of course, just like the swindler's case that we've mentioned, the few ones, we could see that it was based on what they saw or what they perceived, but the perception was wrong in that case. It was more of an illusion. So what are your thoughts around when you're making your judgment based on what you can see?
Because if I want to really talk about my thoughts, right now I've learned not to base my perception based on just sensory perception. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, so I really draw from my spiritual strength, base my perception on what my spirit is, so that's another realm of discussion. Because usually when I base my perception on what my spirit is connecting, telling me, what the Spirit of God is telling me, I'm almost always right, except if I just miss it. And as humans, we are not 100% right, but I've just basically learned not to judge after what I see or what I hear, because that's where we talk about sensory perception, which is what most people do. Because sometimes, and also by reason of use, with time, you begin to know also when a person is, when there's inauthenticity. I don't know, but for me, that has been the experience. And maybe because I've decided not to be quick to judge. Sometimes I judge right away. It's inevitable. We always judge. And but I feel like with time, we begin to know. With time. Definitely 10 years ago, I used to think I was a good judge of character, but I realized I was not. Looking back at the relationship I've had years back, I now saw what some people were doing. They were manipulative people that I had around me. That because I had a very strong personality. If I like you, I like you, regardless of whatever you do. Even if somebody is saying, I'm not talking relationship now, I would just defend that person because I used to be just one way. But looking back at some of those relationships and some of what those people had done, and some of them were just manipulative and were just basically using me, to help them, because they know that once I'm loyal to a particular thing, and these are people, some of them were even pastors, and but once I'm loyal to a particular cause, I will go all out and help and work, and then I separated their calling from their character, and I saw that some of these people were just being manipulative, and they just wanted to keep me around, and they were just selfish. And I just saw that it was just a one-way parasitic thing. I was the one always giving to that relationship. They didn't. And as I said, it wasn't a romantic relationship. It wasn't a romantic relationship, right? But I didn't realize it then. So looking back, and I saw that I had been a very terrible judge of character based on what I just perceived, and that was it for me. So now I've learned not to judge quickly. It's very important we get to that point.
That's true, because most times you just think, based on what you see, you just want to make
or what you feel or perceive, like sensory.
And of course, for spiritual people like us, it comes to having that the feeling of the Holy Spirit to make decisions. And it's just important that don't just base your your judgment on only what you feel. Of course, it's going to come in once in a while, like
where you have to make quick decisions.
So once in a while you feel, but at least remembering this just makes you think like, not every decision should be based on just what I feel or what I'm seeing, based on what I perceive. At least make your findings, do your research, due diligence.
And research is part of it. Especially as spiritual people, Christians will sometimes overlook research. We just sometimes God gives us the brain to think and do research. Like you want to make a decision or even about somebody, just a little research is all some people need to uncover some things. But they think everything has to be spiritual, and sometimes it's just something you have to look at, or maybe a decision.
So
I
think that's a good place to
stop today. It was great. We'll try to keep our podcast.
So exactly, at least put your best foot forward, as you've said, because it's important what people see. And of course, when making your decisions, when making your judgment, when you're judging, be careful not just to base it on what you feel alone, because life is beyond just feelings. So I hope you've learned one or two things, and
I also learned as well. And comment, share,
share your thoughts.
We want to know what you guys think, and it's been great talking to you, Toby.
It's been great having you around. So
thank you.
All
right, take care, guys.
Have a good day. Bye.